Episode 233. Facing the hidden boss, Yeshu swept his fingers across the keyboard, and Lord Grimm sidestepped to the side. Before the Shadow Blade assassin's Silverlight blade could land, Lord Grimm had already drawn a blade from the Thousand Chance umbrella, its glow tracing a massive, flashing half circle. Yet from the other side, an identical arc of light flashed out. The two blades of light met and intertwined, forming a perfect, luminous full moon. The one who struck was Qiao Yifan. He and Yeshu had seized the same moment, unleashing the very same skill, the Ghost Blade's level 15 technique, Moonlight Slash. Nice, Yeshu called out. The Shadow Blade dance's two mid-air slashes shattered the silver light falling blade. His body was slashed mid-air by the blade's light, about to fall, when two larger arcs of blade light flashed out together. They traced the very path of the earlier Moonlight Slash. Yet it flew out in a complete, reverse-handed arc. This was the Ghost Blade's level 20 skill, Full Moon Slash. The skill inherently carried a slight knockback effect, but at that moment, Qiao Yifan and Yeshu each held aside, unleashing their skills simultaneously. The effects of their attacks cancelled each other out, leaving the Shadow Blade slashed and suspended in mid-air, seemingly immobilized. As the sword light faded and he was about to land, a laser beam shot straight for him, striking the Shadow Blade squarely in the chest and blasting him back several steps before he crashed to the ground. This skill, of course, was So Muching's Wind Dancer Misty Rain and her laser cannon.
Ice formation.
Even as Yeshu shouted, Qiao Yifan had already unleashed his skill. Frost coalesced and then dissipated from his blade, forming a glacial domain under the control of the Ice Soul Spectre. Seizing the moment, Yeshu swung his blade, unleashing the Ghost Blade's Soul Force Array. The sneaky Bun's invasion, meanwhile, was just passing by like a total bystander, zipping past the two of them. With a flick of his hand, he threw a handful of sand into the face of the Shadow Blade Master, who had just stood up, triggering a blinding effect. Disoriented and unable to locate his foe, the Shadow Blade Master spun in place twice. Meanwhile, the Ice Array's effect had already activated, its frost energy gnawing at his body. With a sharp crack, the freeze chance was triggered. The Shadow Blade was frozen solid into a massive block of ice. Right then, Tang Ru, who'd taken a heavy blow the moment she arrived, had already steered Cold Mist Fury charging in at full speed. In that split second, she unleashed three skills in rapid succession: Dash, Dragon Tooth, and Falling Flower Palm. With each skill, a magical swirl of light erupted from Cold Mist's form. After the three skills, the freeze effect shattered. The instant the ice broke, the Shadow Blade Knight swung his sword in a cross slash. The Crimson Cross didn't look like a blade's gleam, but rather like two streaks of flying snowflakes hurtling towards Han Yanru. Tang Ru immediately leapt backward to dodge, poised to counterattack, but she hadn't anticipated that hidden behind the large cross slash was a smaller one. In that instant, Tang Ru saw only the Shadow Blade's left hand move at his waist. Only then did she realize that in that split second, the Shadow Blade had used his secret technique, the left hand blade. Then he unleashed two cross slashes, hiding the smaller within the larger. A move that was just too clever for words. Poor Tang Ru fell for it again, taking the smaller cross slash head on. From her first-person view, a cross-shaped wound now marked the spot on her torso where the blade had struck. Blood began to flow freely from the wound. She knew this was the bleeding effect triggered by the cross slash's critical hit. The unfortunate part was that Tang Ru didn't dare to press the attack. She hastily downed a health potion and retreated. The Shadow Blade's skill inflicted a severe bleeding effect. Even after the potion, her health continued to steadily drain. Tang Ru's heart began to race with panic. She had no idea how much health this would cost her, or if she could even survive it.
Take a breather.
As Lord Grimm rushed past Soft Mist to intercept the Shadow Blade, Yeshu called out, "You rest for a bit." Tang Ru immediately felt reassured. She trusted Yeshu's judgment she knew she wouldn't die, at least not now. With her health critically low, Tang Ru temporarily became a spectator. Meanwhile, Baozi Invasion continued his underhanded tactics, not daring to close in for melee. He used both sand toss and brick attack as long-range skills. He'd dart in to block whenever he saw an opening. So, the ones truly facing the Shadow Blade were Ye Xiu and Qiao Yifan. So Mu Cheng's wind calm smoke rain was a launcher, so naturally she couldn't rush in close to fight. Ye Xiu saw it all. Professional players were still professional players. Whether it was him, Su Mucheng, or Qiao Yifan, they all handled the Shadow Blade Master with ease. Tang Ru was nearly killed right off the bat, a classic case of her old problem, lack of experience. As for Brawler, he was currently skulking around the edges of the team, playing it safe. This kind of play is extremely limited in its usefulness to a team. Tang Ru and Steamed Bun Invasion. Neither of them are really suited for team play. Tang Ru is too competitive, too aggressive. Her performance is fundamentally self-centered. Her issue is actually quite similar to the problem Sun Shang from Excellent Era showed in his very first match after joining them. Her overly strong individual performance leads to a disconnect from the team. However, with Ye Xiu, Su Mucheng, and Qiao Yifan currently on the squad, their skills far surpass Tang Ru's, so they can still keep her in check. But as her level rises, this problem will inevitably surface. As for Steamed Bun Invasion, that guy's way too unpredictable, too much of a wild card. In a one-on-one, he could become a player that no one else can replicate. But for a team, a player with such a unique style can never achieve 100% synergy with the squad. And there are precedents for players like this. Wang Jiexi, the current captain of Team Tiny Herb, is the most unpredictable and elusive magician in the entire alliance. In solo matches, his win rate is exceptionally high. But in team battles, the support he could offer his squad was always limited. How to integrate such a style into the team was a problem Wang Jiexi ultimately never solved. In the end, he made sacrifices for the team, changing much of his own style to actively adapt to it. It was precisely because of his adaptation that Team Tiny Herb managed to secure 2 league championships in the 4 years following Excellent Era's 3-peat. Steamed Bun Invasion's situation is somewhat similar to Wang Jiexi's, but Wang Jiexi could adjust himself, while Brawler might not have that kind of awareness. As for which path of development would be more beneficial, 11 Labs voiced the idea. For Ye Xiu couldn't quite decide at the moment. Wang Jiexi, after his adjustments, remained at a god-tier level, with the bearing of a true master. But many others, after forcibly changing their style, sinking into mediocrity, becoming just another face in the crowd. Making the switch isn't that easy. Although Baozi Invasion was a total newbie to glory, he wasn't a blank slate when it came to gaming. His approach actually followed its own distinct logic and understanding. In this regard, he wasn't like Tang Ru. Tang Ru was the true blank slate. But unfortunately, that girl's stubborn personality had already largely defined her style. A major shift was unlikely. Ye Xiu could teach them the game's techniques, but he had no power to change a person's character. They were all adults, with mature mindsets. Tang Ru's personality wasn't a flaw. It just hinders her from becoming an excellent team player. Ye Xiu watched the two of them perform, his mind occupied with these thoughts, yet his own hands, on control, never slowed. 10 years of glory, countless battles, he'd lost track of how many he'd experienced. Many of his actions had become pure instinct, flowing from his hands without a conscious thought. He controlled Lord Grim, Qiao Yifan's 1-inch ash, and Su Mucheng's windward formation with perfect coordination. Pulling this off shouldn't be a problem.